What's up, guys? I'm back with a little change of pace on a vehicle. This is an Audi S4 2005 B6 generation 4.2 liter V8. It's got that long block, big V8 with the giant timing chains in the back, right? The #1 most insane engine setup ever. Got to do your timing chains. Guess what? Got to pull the engine. Oh man. Anyways, so for those of you wondering what this car looks like with the front clip removed, here it is. So it's not service position. As we all know, a lot of Audis go into what's called the service position, which is the front clip tilted out and hanging on by just 2 bolts at the top. Everything else is loosened. You got to remove the front bumper, and it's called the service position because now you can get your hand in there. You can get your hands in between the engine and the front radiator clip, which is right over there. Yeah, so I was having, I've had this car for a little bit. So what's going on is I bought this car with a blown engine, just a shell. Actually, it had the engine in it, but it was a blown engine. It was just a rolling car, no power. Timing chains went. They skipped a tooth, so it jumped timing, and catastrophic failure destroyed all the valves. Pistons were smashed. The engine was destroyed. It wasn't, there was very little that was salvageable. It was a B6 engine. It was a 2005. So a lot of things on it. It was really old. It had the outdated valve covers. So I got I sourced a new engine, not new, but I sourced a running engine used off of a 2006, which it was a B7 S4 Avant. So this engine here, it's got the updated valve covers. So I guess that car was involved in an accident, a rollover. So the engine was still good, managed to get it. I dropped it in here, dropped it in this car, mated it to the original transmission. It was running good. It had a couple issues that I had to sort out. Had a leaking valve cover gasket, right, which is very common on these cars. So replaced the leaking valve cover gasket. It was leaking at the back. Replaced it while the engine was in, after the engine was put in. Okay, which a lot of people, it's hard. It's hard. Actually, it's really not that hard. Okay, let me rephrase that. As long as you remove everything, at the time I had the fuel rails removed with the injectors taken out. It made it so much easier. There's only 2 bolts. There's 2 bolts that are very difficult to remove, and that is the back bottom corner right here. So there's one on that side, and then there's one on the bottom. Are very difficult to remove. But there's a trick to it, okay, that'll make it easier for you, and that's a little mini ratchet. You need a mini 1/4-inch ratchet with a Torx 30 bit, and you get that little thing, fits right in there. You're gonna have to contort your hands a little bit, your fingers. You might activate some carpal tunnel syndrome issues, but it's doable. It's not impossible, and it's not even really that difficult. All right, it's just, you just got to take your time with it, be patient, and you'll get it. And it's the same for both sides. Okay, same issue on those bolts. But it's not bad. And the gasket is like $40 for each one. A mechanic that's going to charge you $300 to do the job. You go to the dealer, they're going to charge you $600 to do it. So you can do it yourself and save yourself, up to $550. Since it's not bad, it's not that difficult. But anyways, Also replaced I did a check valve service on it, and the filter housing gaskets, replaced those. So I'll do a separate video going over that, because that is it's very common. There's a couple of very extremely common across the board issues with these engines. First most common problem is the timing chains exploding and destroying your engine. Hopefully you heed the warning signs early and either fix it or dump it. But anyways, the other very common issues are oil leaks. All Audis consume oil or they leak it, right? The common leak is the oil filter housing gaskets, okay, which leaks right down the back of the engine and into the valley, okay, which is right here. This is the valley. Under the intake manifold is the valley. So that, a lot of oil leaks out of there. Second most common leak is the valve covers, okay? And those are pretty straightforward on replacing those and fixing that issue. Another common leak is the valley pan gasket, okay? So if you do the oil filter housing, do the valley pan, okay? And if you do the valley pan gasket, do the check valves. Super easy. While you got all this stuff off, do everything that needs to be done under there, so you're not doing this more than once, okay? This isn't difficult to remove, it's just tedious. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of bolts, a lot of hoses that you're gonna take off and break, because they will break. They're super brittle. So you're gonna have to replace a lot of things, but it's not impossible. And when you're doing the valley pan gasket, you're gonna do the 2 check valves and you're gonna do the oil spray valve. They're not expensive. You can buy it's called the check valve kit, service kit. You can get it from FCP Euro or ECS Tuning. They sell the kit. It even comes with the bottle of coolant, because you're gonna dump a little bit of coolant when you disconnect the coolant hose from the throttle body. So it comes with everything you need, and there is a step-by-step instruction, do it yourself, online, and it's given by ECS Tuning. It's super easy to follow. It even gives you the torque specs, the tools you'll need, the torque specs. Super easy. Anyone can do it. If you have the least bit of mechanical inclination, you can do it. It's not hard. So I did all of that. Had the car running for a bit. It started developing this like metallic scraping noise from the front of the engine. It had a couple bearing noises also, which were really annoying and progressively getting worse. But this, I managed to track down that metallic scraping noise to the front bottom driver's side of the engine, which is right at the water pump. Water pump goes right here. This water pump was making, it started occasionally on cold startups. Once it warmed up, it went away. Progressively got worse to the point where it was doing it all the time. And it was developing a really loud bearing, like a bad bearing scraping noise. That is, that had me concerned. Any metallic noise coming from inside the engine is reason for concern. But thankfully it was, I tracked it down to the water pump, sourced the water pump. They're not really too expensive, and just waiting for the parts. It's the story of every mechanic, right? Waiting for parts. Thermostat is right here. It's looking like it's in good condition. Didn't have any heating issues, so I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna replace it. If it needs to be replaced, it's not hard. It's just 4 bolts, pops right off. Replace it, pop it back in. So it's something that I really don't care to do right now. I can do it later if need be. But like I said, there's no issues with it. But yeah, so this is what the car looks like without the front clip. This is the engine. We're gonna go over some other issues. Another common problem, and a starter replacement in the next couple videos. because those are pretty in-depth, and this video is going to be pretty long. But I am doing this for the guys out there who have the B6 or B7 S4s, because I know when I was about to take this job on, I couldn't find any videos of the front of the car, and it's always good to have them for reference, right? Because you don't want leftover parts when you put this thing back together, right? I'm also going to be replacing this auxiliary radiator, driver's side, because it's leaking right there in the corner. I'll be making a video on that. I already removed the passenger side auxiliary radiator, but I'm going to be doing that delete, which is a common thing to do, to delete this radiator, because it produces an unbelievable amount of heat and heats up the airbox. And you don't want hot air going into your intake manifold. You want cool air, or a little bit cooler. So we're going to do that, delete. It's a common mod, done. Secondary air injection is also going to be deleted because I don't have cats. No catalytic converters, so there's no need for it. Which is also another common issue and a common mod. So we'll be deleting that. I'll be going over that also. That's it. All right, so stand by for the other videos. I'm going to do a step-by-step on the oil cooler also, and the alternator removal. And as I mentioned earlier, the starter. These are all common problems also. I'm going to do videos on every common problem that this engine has, except for the timing chains. That's something that I can't do. I won't do. That's insane. You got to remove the engine. It's just you require a lot of special tools and skill. All right, but that's it for now, guys.